Business 200, Principles of Marketing. We are still in Unit 3, which is Reaching Your Customer, and now we're on Chapter 10, which is about the supply chain and logistics management. Here are your learning objectives. Here is your executive perspective I'd like you to read. Okay, supply chains. A supply chain consists of flows of products and services, financial resources, and information among the companies in the chain. The flow of products and the services involved in getting the products to customers is said to move downstream. The flow of financial resources that move from the customer to the companies that were part of the supply chain is said to move upstream. Distribution channels or marketing channels are intermediaries, such as wholesalers, distributors, and retailers, through which the flow of products travel. Here are how containers play a key role in supply chains. Here's an example of a supply chain for a t-shirt. All along the supply chain, we can see the different flows of products and services. Services such as ocean freight companies assist the movement of the goods downstream. Information such as demand for the jeans moves upstream. Information about when the goods will arrive at the stores moves downstream. Finances in the form of payments to the suppliers move back upstream in the supply chain. And then this figure illustrates these three types of supply chain flows. A company with a supply chain orientation is willing to help coordinate supply chain activities that add value to the end customer. A supply chain orientation is necessary to be successful at supply chain management. Supply chain management refers to the actions the firm takes to coordinate the various flows within a supply chain. Supply chain management decisions often involve trade-offs. Inventory carrying costs are the costs required to make or buy a product. These costs include risk of obsolescence, taxes, insurance, and warehousing space used to store the goods. Individual firms integrate their activities to such a degree that the supply chain functions as one extended enterprise. For an integrated supply chain to work, companies must be willing to embrace relationship-based strategies. Such strategies involve close, long-term collaboration for a mutual benefit. Keeping track of inventory. Here is supply chain integration. So a push strategy is one in which a company builds goods based on a sales forecast, put those goods into storage, and then waits for a customer to order the product. A pull strategy is one in which customer orders drive manufacturing and distribution operations. Here's supply chain management at Boeing. Okay, supply chain strategy. Push-pull supply chain strategies often work for firms like Legos, who use sales forecasts to build up the expected inventory of base products such as minifigures, and then wait for customer demand, such as popular characters at the moment before customizing them. In a hybrid or push-pull strategy, the initial stages of the supply chain operate on a push system, but completion of the product is based on a pull system. And here's a figure comparing the supply chain strategies. Stability of demand. If a firm can't predict demand for its product, it can't create an accurate sales forecast that would allow it to enjoy the benefits of a pure push strategy. A push strategy will allow a firm to achieve cost savings through economies of scale in purchasing, manufacturing, and transportation. If cost reduction is part of a firm strategy, then a push strategy is the obvious choice. A pull or hybrid strategy would be a good choice for a company that competes on either A, its ability to deliver customized products, or B, a high level of customer service built on manufacturing and distribution flexibility. Lead time is the time it takes from placement of an order to delivery of the goods. If customers want a short lead time, the company will need to have products already made and ready to deliver. A push strategy is best for that scenario, or for this scenario. And then companies can use different strategies depending on their product or service. So here's how Dell delivers quickly. And then what is logistics? Logistics enables supply chain to run smoothly. It adds value, the 7 R's of logistics. And then the impact of logistics on the place is delivering products and services to the right location, price, efficient purchasing, inventory warehousing, product packaging needs, and promotion ensures sufficient materials to meet increased demand. Here is how the Food Bank of Northeast Arkansas delivers food. So logistics also applies to services and nonprofits. Dairy Queen, for example, must have the components of a meal, such as frozen French fries, hamburger buns, and takeout containers on hand in order to deliver customer orders. Aligning logistics with supply chain strategies. Push strategy requires logistics that can handle large volumes of product. Pull or hybrid strategy need logistics based on service, quality, innovation, and flexibility. Purchasing costs include the cost to place and process orders, materials, and finished goods. Inventory carrying costs are important to companies because they negatively impact profits. As discussed earlier in the chapter, these include storage and handling expenses, the cost of tying up capital in inventory, service costs such as property taxes and insurance, and then costs associated with damage to or obsolescence of the good while it is in storage. A stock out occurs when a company does not have enough inventory to fill an order. In such cases, a customer can either place a back order or cancel the order. So, inventory management for Diet Dr. Pepper and 7-Up. Here's a table calculating inventory costs or carrying cost percentage for a smartphone. All right, logistics functions. Purchasing involves the sourcing and procurement of raw materials, component parts, finished goods, and services. Here is a slide explaining the importance of sustainability. So another logistics function is materials management. This involves the inbound movement and storage of materials in preparation for those materials to enter and flow through the manufacturing process. Warehousing activities can be organized into 3 basic functions: storage, movement, and production. Some warehouses also perform a production function. This may include such activities as light assembly of products like storage displays. It might involve customizing products for customers, such as mixing different products into shipment for customers that do not need large quantities of any one product. It also can include refurbishing returned goods. Here is more information on the movement function of warehouses. A distribution center is a type of warehouse used specifically to store and ship finished goods to customers. And here, this shows a relationship among purchasing costs, inventory carrying costs, and out-of-stock costs or stock-out costs. Transportation creates place and time utilities that are essential to keeping customers satisfied. Cost-effective transportation can enable companies to market goods to greater distances while maintaining competitive pricing. Transportation management thus enables companies to build global supply chains and compete in new markets. Today, intermodal transportation uses multiple types of transportation for the same shipment. Thus, companies can load products into containers that are carried part of the way by rail and part of the way by truck. Accessibility in this context refers to a carrier's ability to provide service from the source of the shipment to a destination. Factors companies must consider in choosing transportation modes include transit time, mode accessibility, ability of the mode to handle necessary volumes, ability of the mode to consistently meet lead time requirements, and then the cost, which is always a factor, but is more important for certain products than others. And here is a table comparing the 6 main modes of transportation. Here is a slide about today's professional. I'd like you to read that on your own. So sustainability is a commitment to a lifestyle that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Consumers are increasingly interested in buying products from companies that care about protecting the environment and the world's natural resources. Sustainable sourcing is a process of purchasing goods and services that takes into account the long-term impact on people, profits, and the planet. Nearshoring involves sourcing materials and finished products from countries that are close to, but not in, an organization's own country. Organizations doing nearshoring select suppliers that are closer than previous suppliers. Onshoring involves sourcing material and finished products from suppliers in an organization's own country. Companies can reduce transportation and material handling by eliminating a distribution center and instead shipping directly from producer to consumer. This tactic, which cuts out the intermediary in a supply chain, is called disintermediation. A closed-loop supply chain is a supply chain that maximizes value creation by recovering value from product or materials returned. The main idea behind a closed-loop supply chain is that fewer products or product components end up in a landfill or are improperly disposed of. Products that are unwanted, damaged, defective, obsolete, or in need of recycling need to be handled in an environmentally friendly way. Hewlett-Packard, for example, provides customers with a retail drop-off location and prepaid mailers to allow its customers to return inkjet and laserjet cartridges. These cartridges are then used to make new cartridges, which reduce the amount of waste going into a landfill. And that is it for Chapter 10.